Alright, so I'm back with a recap of some stories in music production from the past 2 weeks. So let's start with the Ableton Note update. Ableton's iOS app Note got a major update recently, version 1.3, which adds a MIDI editor and the 16 pitches mode that we first saw on Ableton Move. And Note actually has some advantages when compared to Move. Crucially, it features 8 tracks instead of just 4. But even a couple of years after its release, the most common comment on Ableton's videos about Note is related to the lack of Android version. It seems Android users feel kind of disrespected and there's no word from Ableton on whether they intend to make the app available for Android. But the MIDI editor is an important addition and very nicely implemented. As always, Ableton take their time to add new features, but then you can see it was worth the wait. So in this MIDI editor, you hold a note and it brings up a menu allowing it to be moved, transposed, quantized, or to alter its velocity. You can pinch to zoom on the MIDI grid or turn your device into portrait orientation in order to use the MIDI editor in full screen mode. But the 16 pitches mode is not quite what you might expect. On Ableton Move you can play the 16 pitches of a pad in the drum rack in real time, while on Note it's only part of the MIDI editor, meaning that you just have the option to transpose a note after it's been entered into the sequencer from the pitches tab, and there's no way to play it in real time as far as I can tell. But I guess it's fine. Playing on an iPhone sucks anyway, so the MIDI editor is a nice way to work. And this is just one of many updates that Ableton have released for Note in the past 2 years. It was pretty bare bones in the beginning, but they've added so much to it and it has turned into a really nice app if you are an Ableton Live user. However, there are still some inexplicable omissions. Like Move, Ableton Note doesn't respond to pitch bend, mod wheel, or sustain pedal from an external MIDI keyboard. But honestly, I can't complain too much. Ableton have been killing it with the updates to Live, Push, Move, and Note recently, and Live 12.2 should come out of beta soon and get an official stable release. On to the next story, and another great update for the Kontrol S-Series Mark III keyboards came out recently, making Native Instruments flagship controllers play better outside of their ecosystem. The Kontrol Mark III now features an on-device arpeggiator in addition to the on-device chords and scale features that were added last year. On-device refers to the fact that these features now run on the actual device, while previously they were only accessible through the Complete Control software. So this adds a lot of value to these keyboards, and now these play assist features work with instruments from other brands and even hardware synths in DAW-less setups. And also another great addition is the dual MIDI output. So previously, like the old MK2 generation, the MK3 keyboards could only output MIDI either through the USB port or through the MIDI outputs, but not through both simultaneously. And in a hybrid setup, it was really annoying that you had to unplug the USB from the computer to play a hardware synth. But with this new update, you can now send MIDI simultaneously to the USB-C port and the MIDI ports, and you can even split the keyboard, so part of the keyboard transmits to the USB and part of it to the MIDI out. So overall, a very nice update, and its version number is 1.9.4, so maybe we're close to a bigger 2.0 update. I'm just guessing here as I have no idea, but well done to NI. And since its release, they've improved the Kontrol Mark III a lot, adding MIDI templates and on-device play assist features. But let's be honest, the biggest update of the past week was from Teenage Engineering, who released a new firmware for the EP133KO2. Bit of a mouthful, but you know what I'm talking about. This is firmware 2.0, and they call it the Champions update. Man, some really huge additions to this one, like resampling, song mode, side chaining, and they've also increased the polyphony of the device to 16 mono voices or 12 stereo voices. Kind of a wild update, to be honest. And I'll admit I had one briefly but had to return it due to the common fader problem. Honestly, I don't regret returning it because I absolutely don't need it. But I have to give TE credit for making their users happy with this update. And also, it seems the KO2 is a massive success, and it seems it has gone way beyond our tiny beat-making niche, as I see some super casual users like just general tech enthusiasts who aren't really producers owning one. So credit where credit's due. Back to NI for the next piece of news, and the annual expansion sale is now running until April the 29th. Previously, they had a deal where you could buy 9 expansions for 99 bucks, but this was a bit too much for some people, and the other problem was that not all expansions were included in the sale. So they've switched it up this time. The offer is 5 expansions for 55 bucks, and almost all expansions are included, except for the luxury hip-hop Leap expansion, because it was released like very recently. And also excluded are the MPC versions of the expansions. I'll put a link to the sale in the description of this video, as I can vouch that these are very useful sounds, especially the machine expansions, which you don't even need machine to use them. They're just really nice sample packs, and you can use these WAV files in any DAW or sampler. But also check out my packs from the link in the video description down below, especially if you're an Ableton Live user. And I recently updated my Driftwave pack to work with Ableton Move. But yeah, that's all for today, guys. Support the channel by liking the video if you really enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you are new here and want to see more of these videos in your YouTube feed. And I will catch you later.